Okay, for my second to last manga scan editing tutorial, I'm gonna do the eyes. Because the picture, this is the only picture I have that has large eyes, so this is what I'm using. First I need to make this layer 0, and I like just to kind of outline the eye, leaving, the lash line intact, and just outline the black. I like to go to Image Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and just hike the lightness up a bit, maybe to +50 is what I usually use. You can just use whatever you want. I'm gonna do this above the layer so I can show you this method too. I'm just gonna do blue because blue works quite well. I just have this on linear burn right now. Just gonna go over and you can see how linear burn clings to the black really well, while multiply it doesn't have the same effect at all. I like to use linear burn. You can lower the opacity a little bit if you need to, which I will. Alright, you can do the same things I'm gonna do, just on different layers. Multiply, linear burn, soft light, overlay, screen, and lighten perhaps, depending on exactly what you're doing, but I just prefer to use the burn and dodge tools for the eyes because they're so small. First I use the burn tool. I gotta get rid of protect tones. There we go. I like to use a soft brush, somewhat large, and I mid-tones, and I just burn. This is on 50%, by the way. Just burn the very top arc. Back and forth, and then a little bit on the bottom where the line is. The existing line art. And then I like to go over the top again and to delve down into where the pupil would be. Just kind of darken the pupil area. And then I like to go to burn shadows and do the pupil area again. And then go to highlights. And I gotta lower the opacity for this for about 25. And just burn this again. And just go over the top. Okay. Down in the pupil area again. And just on the very edge. And if you're going for a really cutesy look, you'll just go to the dodge tool. I'm gonna use mid-tones first and dodge that ring between the edge of the iris and the pupil. Go back and forth. Then go to shadows and just use a small brush right down the center. Why do I have protect tones on? No wonder it's not working very well. Back and forth, and now I'll really lighten it up. Go to dodge highlights. And this will actually give a bit of a color difference. So you don't want to use that one too much unless you're fine altering the color later. Go back to mid-tones. Now I'm just going to zoom out for a second. Okay, so that looks pretty good so far. That'd be great for, more cutesy eye. I'll show you how to do the white at the end. If you're going for a more dramatic, go back to the burn tool. Mid-tones is what I'm going to start off with. And just kind of do a zigzag shape over the light part. And darken the pupil a bit more. Shadows, zigzag pattern. And you'll notice if you look at your iris really close in the mirror, the colored part of your eye, going back to highlights now, that your eyes will have little lines coming out. This will kind of replicate it by just doing a zigzag pattern. overdid a little bit there. Midtones, back and forth. I'm going to dodge one more time. Midtones, 25%. Shadows, just right down the center. There we go. Okay, and that's how that looks. Now just clean it up. Now you can either make a new layer on top of this and just go over the edges in white if you're doing this under the scan. If you're doing this on top of the scan, you'll just want to press delete. Alright? That's what we got so far. And you'll want to like blur the edges just a tiny bit. Or maybe once around just to give it a little bit of softer look. And now obviously most pictures are going to have one large bit. Like right here was where you can see had that space where it was going to be white. Now you can either use a dot. I would start off with a hard brush and then soften it. And just go to follow it at an angle directly across and do a little dot there and maybe smaller dots by it depending on the look you're going for. You can see the effect that gives. More of a cutesy thing. If you're going for a little bit more dramatic again, make a triangle pointing towards, oh, what the hell happened there? Make a triangle pointing towards the white, our existing white. And it's best to do this on a new layer. Fill. Lower the opacity a bit, and then edit, free transform, and rotate it around until it gets where you want it to. Me, I just had to do a little adjustment. Blur it a bit, depending on how much you want. Mess with the opacity, maybe the settings, lighten, screen. Those are pretty much the same as normal, but can differ slightly. Linear dodge add usually has a pretty different effect than just normal, but it's not doing it for me today. That one's a bit big. You can edit free transform it smaller. Depending on what you're going for. I prefer just the little dots, but that is how you do eyes.